Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me loud, right? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have some great sessions today. And Dr. Rajendra, I think, is left, but Mr. Goenka also. We are very, very inspired by the initiatives that the government is taking. So thank you so much for inspiring us. What are you doing? Especially Mighty, I think the kind of actions they're taking on Make in India, etc., is just phenomenal, yeah. The next hours thing that Rajesh spoke about, or Rajiv spoke about, the headset that is required to go on Metaverse, I can tell you it's coming from HP. We have these AR, VR headsets that is actually used for these kind of use cases. Okay, so I'll tell you what we are trying to just figure out is, sorry, I just moved the slide a little earlier, but it's okay. So what we are trying to see is that how do you bring all this together? What is intriguing to see is that how do you bring all this together to see that how do you create a seamless end user or an employee experience here? And that's the subject today. Why is employee experience gaining a lot of traction? Why is IT overburdened, overstressed with this fact that the employee experience needs to be best in class given the hybrid workforce environment? What is the surge ahead that we are talking about? And what are OEMs like HP doing to make sure that we enable you in your endeavor to make sure you can provide best in class user experience? So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kavit. I'm responsible for the enterprise business and managed services for HP India, and that's what I'm going to talk today. I think a lot of things have changed as the pandemic continues or get over, all these things have changed. But I want to draw your attention to two things. While everything has become business as usual, a lot of things have become real for us. But there are two things that still needs attention. Maybe we have not captured it to full, it's not regularized well enough. One is around the cultural cohesion. So how do we make sure that an employee wears the badge of an employer that it's representing? How do we make sure that we imbibe the culture of that particular organization in that particular new employer? Because it's not the same onboarding that we do. We used to do those onboardings in office, the same evenings that you have, the employees in the offices, the offsites, etc. It's not same. So it's important that we pay attention, how do we imbibe the culture within an employee that's representing our company. Second is around managing workflows flexibility. Now what has happened is that this hybrid workforce culture has actually created a lot of persona within ourselves here. If you see, everyone was coming to office, obviously persona was based on a high power user or a low power user, etc. But now today we have people who come almost every day to office. There are people who have not seen office the last 3 years. There are people who come once in a week. There are people who come, let's say, 4 times, twice in a month, right? What it does is, it's not just for the periodicity of the time that the person is coming to office. What has also happened is that the IT needs have also changed for these personas here. And that's need a special attention. There's a joke that's going around that once a person puts the usual thing that happens now is you're putting an out of office when you're going to office saying, okay guys, I'm going to office, I'm not going to reply to your emails. I'll go back home and I start working, I won't reply to your emails. That's out of office usually that we've seen, right? So what we are doing, basically what it does is, it is actually putting a lot of stress and it intensifying the pressure on the IT leaders here. Because people are working from anywhere. It does not matter. It could be a holiday home, it could be airports, cafes, it could be office, does not matter where the person is working for. That means it's more fragmented workforce that we have today. It's not about just managing the complexity of the fragmented workforce, but what it also means is that the vulnerability from the external threats is also increasing with this workforce here. The employees are obviously becoming much and much more demanding. The turnaround times, the collaboration needs, the experience that the person wants is much more demanding, right? And on top of this is the sustainability factor that organizations are growing its interest on. Of course, this is one area the organizations cannot leave behind, and this is one of the core areas of focus for all the organizations. I'll try to connect the dots later, but I'm just saying that while this all complexity is happening, the CIOs have to also make sure that the sustainability part is also taken care of. Okay, so in a nutshell, what it means is that employee experience is actually taking the center stage. It is one of the most important deliverable for an organization, because the study reveals that if there is compelling workforce experience for an employee, it's 4x times the probability of staying with their existing companies there compared to others. What it also means is that employee experience is the new corporate battleground. Who gets the best talent? Who attracts the best talent? Who retains the best talent? Who grows the best talent? And so on and so forth there. So what happens is that what we are trying to do is that with this, it actually gives us a space and a sense grows that should be the next journey from here on. And the journey that we can travel together. I mean, we all know since the adaptive of the hybrid workforce, the hybrid workplace that has started, the CIOs have actually become people's business here. CIOs is actually managing people's business. CIO is in a very, very unique position to be able to drive this transformation. And IT, the whole IT ecosystem actually makes sure that there bridges the gap between the workspace, a smart workspace that continues to be the need, and the hybrid workforce ecosystem that needs to come together. And like I said, that we can travel this journey together. What I mean when I say travel the journey together is that with HP services, we can actually equip you with a lot of these tools and softwares and solutions that can actually enable you to deliver a great employee experience as far as the text is concerned. It is by the way of technology that is consumed every day by your employee. It is by the way of collaboration needs that is being leveraged every day. It's by the productivity tools that your employees are using every day. We can combine all this together to make sure they deliver an employee experience that you're looking for. What we do, I'll tell you, is that the whole services model is based on 3 fundamental principles. Number 1 is instinctive collaboration. So basically, collaboration, which is the main tool, because that is the interface and the communication for an employee today. So what happens is that if a person is working from, let's say, a large boardroom, or a small collaboration space, or a work office, or a work home, whatever, where it does not matter, the touch, feel, process, and the experience should be seamless. It should not matter where the person is. It's important that we deliver a seamless experience. That's number 1 principle that the services are built on. Second is productivity, making sure that the hardware that is being used, because ultimately the interface for anyone, for all of us, is generally the hardware, and the hardware that Rajiv was also talking about. It needs to be built in a fashion that it's for long working hours. It needs to be sleek, smart, lighter, so that person is traveling, it's as good as a mobility device, because it does not matter where the person is working from. It needs to, and in fact, we have designed this hardware in such a fashion that it is actually tuned to the requirement of a hybrid worker. I'll not talk about too many features here, but I'll just bring your attention to one. Let's say, for example, there is a meeting and you have to have your camera on, and you are spending, let's say, 2-3 hours. It's not human to sit, right? It's 3 hours on a chair and just because you have to be in front of the camera. So what the hardware does is basically, there's an autofocus feature. You can stand up, move, and the camera automatically adjusts to your movement, right? So there's small things like this, which actually brings in a lot of efficiency. There are multiple features like this. I'm just trying to bring one. The third important fundamental that the whole service model is built on is artificial intelligence and security. So artificial intelligence tool on which the whole platform is built on, it helps us being proactive. It throws a lot of proactive insights to make right decisions as far as the endpoint strategy is concerned. And security. For example, everyone obviously has an IT-sec policy. We have softwares layered down across the IT infra. But I'm talking about software at a hardware level. So when we talk about a hardware level, any kind of intrusion detection, self-remediation, all these things happens at the hardware level and gets reported. Because we got to be mindful that the only asset that walks out of a secured workplace is maybe a laptop or a handheld device. Yeah. So that's the kind of the thing is. So what is the hybrid workforce services here that we are talking about? And I am not trying to make a pitch, but I'll exactly give you an example of what we're doing with a big ITS company who has 300,000 employees in the country. When we say 300,000 employees, for us it's 300,000 offices that we serve. Because in ITS, still people are not going back. It's only 5-7% that people go maybe twice, thrice to office, but not more than that. So what we do is, there's 5 phases to it. One is a faster onboarding. So for example, an employee is joining, let's say today. We make sure that the hardware, the PC or the laptop, along with all the peripherals that is required for the person to be productive, reaches day 1 of joining, irrespective of the joining location. It could be an office in a major metro. It could be a small town in Siliguri. It could be a holiday in Goa. It does not matter where the person is getting onboarded. It's day 1 that the product reaches there with the entire periphery of things. Not only about the hardware, but even the entire ecosystem. So we do the pre-staging for things. So for example, any kind of BIOS or any kind of software needs to load it. It comes with factory settings. So all these activities are performed at the factory level so that day 1 when this thing reaches, you plug and play and it's get active. That's number one. Second is the ease of deployment. So post that, anything that needs to be deployed, which is applications, persona-based applications, something which is specific to the project needs, etc. We have a cloud device manager, which gets integrated with the cloud infra that the organizations have, and you can push anything seamlessly to the device, and it kind of starts working. The second phase of it is redeployment. What we do in the redeployment is, for example, the person is leaving, a person is going, and obviously all the sets needs to come back, etc. So we do the reverse logistics of those devices, make sure all the IT policies that needs to be implemented gets implemented into the hardware, be it data wipe, clean, whatever activities that need to be performed, and either it's redeployed to a new employee or it goes into the asset management piece of the organization. So every single unit, every single asset is managed end to end through this cycle. It is overlaid with a software which we call Proactive Insights, and TechPulse, basically what it does is it throws us proactive insights in the form that, for example, a user's hardware is going to, there's some problem in the hardware. And generally what happens? You generally tend to log a complaint, the engineer visits, it takes 1-2 days, etc. With this software, we do is everything's proactive. Any failure that is expected to have in the hardware gets proactively and then get resolved, because before even the user comes to know about the problem is resolved, which also means that about 70-80% calls does not land up in your help desk. There's a huge savings in your productivity and the efficiency of your help desk as well. It also, what it does at a strategy level is you can actually see that who are the high power users, what is the compute usage that is required by persona. You can actually find out the processes where you can actually put the edge in place, because of you don't want to give the powerful device, and you want to make sure that this can be flex up, flex down as far as the power requirement is concerned, and hence you can do a edge kind of a strategy discussion with the team. You can also think about VDI in certain business cases depending on the use case again. These insights regularly gets feed into the IT ecosystem so that you can make your endpoint strategy discussions on the go, because there is nothing which is static as more. I think there's very dynamic movement that keeps on happening as far as the endpoints is concerned. That's what it is. Last but not the least, what we do is we do a very clean disposal of all the devices. Ultimately, all these assets reach a life cycle. It reaches, let's say, 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever the policy that an organization has. We dispose it in a very sustainable way so that we can provide you back the points, which is the carbon emission set of points. I'm not saying the exact points, but it's a set of points that we provide, which actually help you meet the enterprise sustainability goals that you have. The other part of it is, if one is ESG goals are being met, second is you can actually use it for CSR activity. We do a joint program with some of the companies where what we do is we just refurbish the device, give it to an NGO or an underprivileged company or underprivileged, school or something else that goes into the CR activities. This is what we do, and what it means basically for you is that apart from the, I'll put an approximation number because we did the business case when I'm speaking about this company. Roughly 20 to 22% savings on the operational cost as on today. And obviously, it depends on the infra and the work that's happening within the organization. It may change from organization to organization. But the business case suggests there is 20 to 22% savings on the business operations that we are running today as far as endpoints is concerned. Apart from this, we up the employee experience angle, and it helps you win the war on talent. Right? And third most important thing is around, of course, the productivity, your day one productive, and you're making sure there's no loss of even a single day when it comes to revenue and management of the employees. This is what I had to share today. Thank you so much for hearing me out, and I'm here. We can talk more about this, but thank you for all this. Thank you. Take care.